Man, I love this conversation. By the way, I think I'm out to alter this whole a lot of things that I was going to do. I'm gonna alter a lot of this stuff, man, because I think I think this is important, man. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day. I thought it was interesting because the young lady played she played Juice Wrld. Juice Wrld is a young man who bless you, who passed away due to an overdose of drug use. I think he was trying to hide it and he swallowed it, if I'm not mistaken. But his music is dark. Is and he was talking to, I think in there, it was in the hook, it had something to where it was it had a catchy hook, and then he had said something about wanting to die, right? And the conversation we were talking about, we was like, oh man, we can't listen to that, it's dark, it's this, it's that, right? And this is amongst like some young people in there, maybe some early 30s. There was somebody around my age there and a little older, right? And they was talking about this. We're having the same conversation what we're talking about right now, about how the music is and how dark it is and how, what Satan does and all of this stuff, right? But I had a question for them though. I said, well, and I kind of knew the answer to it, but I just felt like it was a good conversation. I said, so what's the difference between Juice Wrld and Tupac? What's the difference? Tupac, and I said, look, the man, he was whatever he was talking about at that moment, he felt like, hey, he wanted to die, right? Pac had so many tears. Pac talked about suicide in that song, right? Now, on Me Against the World, it's a lot of songs where he mentions in that moment that he wanted to die. But I wanted to get to the conversation about, basically, I guess kind of helping other people understand. There was some snapshots of this when we was coming up too, right? So
it was.
What's? I guess I want to have a conversation about that. What's the difference? What would you think is the difference between him and Pac?
Right out the gate, one thing I would say is Pac was somewhat similar to DMX, where these brothers knew what they knew what they did as far as them being in the industry, but at the same time, the word was tugging on their heart as well, right? I can't speak on Juice Wrld as far as his music too much. I may have heard a few tracks, right? But just right out the gate, I can honestly say, even without knowing a lot of Juice Wrld music, I'm willing to bet if somebody else knows his catalog better, that he wasn't in that same space as Pac, as far as with him battling his demons, he still had enough strength to put out the feel good word, the feel good message, the feel good songs. You understand, right? So it's just like with DMX, you know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to all of them, right? And that's the biggest difference, I think it was, because when you think about Pac, yes, he was heavy on death and on suicide, but he was also heavy on life and respect and honor. Pac was heavy on that, you know what I'm saying? Man, come on, Dear Mama, come on, man.
Right. Oh no, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? So Juice Wrld, what you did he do a he did a concert with Travis Scott, right? Or no?
I'm not sure. I think Juice Wrld was I would say Juice Wrld was a he was a big artist, man.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
he was huge, man.
I think he did I think when because I mean, it's been what 2 years, 3 years,
something like that.
Yeah,
maybe, yeah.
I don't know for sure, but anyways, I was just saying that because as far as like you just said, like how big he was and how strong his music was. You feel me? Like a lot of people but see, hold on. Before I get to the unfortunate thing is there's a long list of rappers who are no longer here. And a long list of young rappers. I mean, I remember watching this one YouTube video, somebody who took the time out to put together a pretty extensive list of just young rappers within the last 2 years who are no longer here, who have died.
Right.
And they spoke on death heavily in their music, right? And that's, I ain't talking about they got to see 20. A lot of these rappers didn't even get this to the same level of Juice Wrld or a few other rappers that were big that's no longer here, right? Young rappers, right? But they bring it upon themselves and they speed up their they essentially speed up their life, shorten their lifespan. I said speed up. They speed up their death and shorten their lifespan. That's what I was trying to say, right? Young Dolph was
Fast
another.
Life.
Huh?
Fast Life.
Yeah.
Fast Life. They're subscribing to the Fast Life.
Yeah, and going back to what Walt said, I mean, I'm not free from it as far as in my younger years, like heavy into a lot of that music. I can honestly say that I have real bad anger problems, right? And I'm gonna just say this real quick, and that's it. Any type of mental health thing a person is going through, they are dealing with a demon. Okay, I'm speaking from experience. All right, so I'll just put that out there right quick. People can do what they want with it. But I remember in my younger years, especially in my early 20s, a lot of people who knew me or know me from the Air Force in my early 20s, they knew me as I was wild. Okay, my 21st birthday is one of the most talked about stories on the Korean Peninsula in South Korea. Yeah, you know. But anyways, it was I didn't know it at the time. I somewhat had an idea, and then I was living that life of duality where I'm fighting, I'm smashing, I'm partying, and then on Sunday I'm in church trying to make up for it. I went through that for a long time. It was by the grace and mercy of the Most High that I'm still here, that he allowed me to live through all the nonsense that I was going through, right? But what was feeding that demon was the music I was listening to. I'm not gonna deny that. It's straight up. So whenever I hear artists, I'm speaking from experience. When I hear artists say it's not the music, man, they just trying to get them. They want themselves to continue, right? So anytime I have an opportunity to speak with a young person who are going through some things, right? And I also have to remind them, I said, look, I have no professional title, so I'm not a therapist, I'm not a counselor, but if you allow me to speak with you, I will break this word down to you, I will pray with you, and I will put you on a path that can help you step away from that, but you have to be willing to do it. You know what I'm saying? Right. So just from that aspect, man, I definitely can say and agree with Walt. Back when I was heavy on a lot of secular songs, I mean, you got artists who had good tracks. They put out good tracks, and I believe off the top of the dome, J. Cole, Big Crit, those are the first two I could think of, right? As far as the majority of their music, you could really, you know what I'm saying, this good music, you feel me? And then you got the flip side of that, you got folks like the party music. Matter of fact, What's my man name? Walker. Walker. Big shouts out to Walker, man. When he first came out, he was heavy on the making you vibe, making you dance. You know what I'm saying? But Walker, once he was able to break away from that mindset, man, look at him now. I don't know what he's doing now.
I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him, man.
Right. You know, and I only brought up Walker because, man, I met him in College Park at Mickey D's one time. But that was years ago. And it's just anyway. So, but to see, and this is what I meant as far as T.I., right? I was a big T.I. fan, man. And so, like I was saying, I'm not going to deny a lot of the music that I listen to. You feel me? That calls me to, all right, we finna throw these hands, right? You, bruh, ain't nobody finna gonna sit here and tell me that you gonna have that type of mindset by listening to Conquerors by Kurt Franklin. You know what I'm saying? Or Mary Mary. You ain't ready to throw no hands listening to no Mary Mary. Right. You listen to 3 6 Mafia and them. You know what I'm saying? So these are just facts. And then when you think about it, when you do a deep dive on these artists, man, come on, man.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I mean, and it's crazy. Well, I would say this. I want to get Trevor to this. You know, this kind of just this thought process I have. You know, you think about Big, right? Big, Ready to Die. It's a lot of and Ready in the Ready to Die album. It was an album that, it's a dark album if you really listen to it. But Big was in a dark place, and I think Life After Death is a lighter, more concentrating on the technical side of rapping, because but I just have the conversation of like, what's the difference? Like, because people in my generation or in our generations, we tend to compare, right, one to the other, but is all of it the same? What you say about? What do you think about that, Joe?
True.
Yeah. Can y'all hear me good?
Yeah.
Cool. Sorry, it's probably got a little delay. It's all the same, man. To be honest with you, Yusha said in Matthew, man, the biggest thing that his people suffer from is lack of not knowing. And the thing what people, us in this world, we don't realize how this world works. The world that we live in is a very spiritual world. And the fact that they're not aware of the things that's going on around them in a spiritual sense, they're opening themselves up to things that can take control of them and they not know it. I had a conversation with my daughter the other day where she's listening to something on YouTube, and this guy, he's talking fast, but he's dropped about 4 or 6 curse words into it, and I told her to cut it off. And she asked me why. I said, you know why I'm telling you to cut it off, because you hear these curse words. He only said one curse word. I said, no, I'm listening to him and I hear what he's saying. So they're not aware of what's being put on them. A lot of things are coming at them in a spiritual sense, and they're not aware of it. The music that we listen to, the words, these things are being spoke about, and the words are powerful. They carry energy. So when they're saying these things or speaking them out, and we're hearing them, that's stuff that's resonating with us in a spiritual sense. It's motivating us and moving us in a certain kind of way, but they're not realizing that. they don't get it. I don't know if you guys saw this video, and it's this preacher. He came on line. He was being interviewed, and he was talking about a dream he had, where he said that he had a dream that he was in hell. And in hell, when he was dreaming, he said that, you know, he was seeing things, but nobody was speaking. But you could relate telepathically of what's going on, as far as like what's being said. And he was saying that he heard demons. They were singing, and he said that they were singing like current modern songs here on Earth. He said one of the demons he heard singing was they were singing Rihanna's Umbrella at that time, and he was saying, and he paused that part to say that when we here on Earth we got to get high, we got to get drunk or something, or influenced to write these words, these lyrics. Well, he's saying that opens up a pathway to another world, another realm, to where people are getting influences by. And he's saying that those influences are spiritual, that's coming to you. You ever wonder why they say with they associate liquor with spirits? You're getting influences from something else that's not natural. But a lot of people have confessed that they have to get and they got to get high, drunk, or something to get influence to write certain things. Even Edgar Allan Poe had to say that he had to get drunk to write. But it was a spiritual sense that we're around. But the fact is, what's the problem is, when we're not recognizing how spiritual this world is, we're moving it in a way thinking that it works on what we just see in front of us, and that's the deception and delusion. We're in spiritual warfare all the time.
Well, you good? Hey, bro, we just started a class from my brother. This is your show. This is your show. Please feel free.
So, like, when I started thinking about it, like what D-Range was saying earlier and what Trent was saying now, when you think about the young artists that have died, even last year, or was it this year that Takeoff died? You got Takeoff.
Oh yeah. Somewhere in there last year.
Takeoff, King Von. I'm just going off the top of my head right now. Juice Wrld, Pop Smoke. Like, a lot of these dudes were speaking. Yeah, like I got love for them all day, and a lot of them are just speaking. I feel like a lot of them are just transparent as far as like what they're feeling and whatnot. But I look at it in the sense of, a lot of times when you start talking about like drugs and things that make you feel good, I know us as a people, we usually do that to numb pain, and then that translates, and then it goes a step further to go to producing something and making something while you're in that state. So when you like say you witnessed death, or you saw someone die, I'm just gonna be 100. Like, we are a people that have gone through so much pain, and I don't even feel like we really understand that conversation of how to properly heal from it is not something that we really even talk about in the church. We kind of come at it in the sense of like, we come at it from a judging point of view versus, I've been through that. I've dealt with that. Like, I've gone through that. And when you even look at what Jesus, I'm like trying to preach or nothing like that. I'm just saying, when you look at what Jesus did, like, he didn't go to the guys who were looked at as far as like the highest of the highest up. He was relating to folks who literally went through pain. You feel me?
He was going trenches. You the trenches. Trenches.
And that's how you make a church. And I'm saying, like, when you look at what these dudes were doing and everything, they were really trying to profit off of it, make something off of it, and then maybe try to do something with it. But at the end of the day, the artwork, what they were creating, is still creating that same cycle of, I went through this was bad, this is what I do to go through it. Hey, someone sees that, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing too. And that's how you get this cycle thing, this cycle of death. And then even when I look at death like so much differently now than I used to. I look at it in the sense of like, I know like there's Lucifer and there's the devil and everything, but death is like the real essence of like nothingness to me. When I look at God and I look at life and everything, that is the essence of life. Like when you look at God, like God literally is the essence of life. Sin is an agent of death. You feel me? I feel we don't concept that when we're doing things that can really lead us to death, or we're preaching death, or we're promoting death in our music and our entertainment and the things that really influence each other, and how we took it and we look at it as it's cool or it's fast and it's dope. And if you look at it from a spiritual point of view or a personal point of view, when you're in the desert and you're going through it all that time, and you see the first thing you see is a bottle of water in the middle of the desert, and you're just like, hey man, that could be the thing that you're gonna take it. That's gonna be the first thing you're gonna do. That's if you've been going through it and you starving, you try it, you see it. Most people gonna take that. It's gonna finish the whole thing. Versus taking that water, sipping it, and putting it away, and kind of taking it with you and making it last. I'm starting to go a little left here, but the whole point I'm saying is like, yeah, like the whole thing I'm saying is like, we as a people, we for real look for that immediate thing that's for real gonna make us feel good. That thing that kind of lets us escape the pain that we go through. And we're a people who are literally identify with pain so much. So it's very difficult to nurse that, even to know to nurse it, if you catch what I'm saying.
Right. Chuck, what you got something to comment on it?
Oh man, this conversation is definitely have a lot of layers to it, which is going to be very challenging to add additional layer to what's already been said. But I think I think Walt brought up an interesting point for us, the pain and the I call it the economy of pain. You know what I'm saying? The monetization of it, the industry of it. Like all of this kind of in my head boils down to, in a lot of things, like if you always want to know why something is happening, usually, you know, human behavior is guided by incentives. So a lot of these cats see the incentive of pain. They see the profit of it. They see that, oh, I can get mad dollars, fame, notoriety by putting out music or messaging about pain, about suffering, about loss of life, about loss of their own life or other people's lives, destruction, everything you can tack a negative tag to, you know, they will cover at some point. So that's the thing. Like, how do we change the equation from the incentive standpoint? Because if you don't do that, then it's gonna be hard to tell the person, hey, I'm out here trying to get out the mud and be like, sing about positivity, where they know that the money ain't there, or how can I get the next meal, or whatever the case may be. So that's the end game for a lot of these cats. Is like, man, and once they get there, once they, you know, use this tool of pain in their music to get the quote unquote the bag, then that emptiness kick in. They know that once they get to quote unquote whatever their objective was, it ain't what it's all cracked up to be. Then they start to kind of like trying to figure out what's next, because they're so deep in, it's a hard. It's very challenging to make that hard right to something different once you have built that brand up with that. So yeah, I think it's kind of speak to like earlier, like, as far as like music when we grew up on, even though you had like the like D Rain talk about the we had game, or game related music, etc. in the early 90s, but we still had like a smorgasbord of competing ideas within hip hop. You know what I'm saying? We had game culture, we had dance music, we had just full-blown lyricism. We was having a smorgasbord of stuff competing in mainstream. Once that competition got diluted, where it just that one pretty much theme, that's when it became problematic. And that's where we are now, just this one theme of just the same stuff, rinse and repeat, the same 808, throw a little different background to it. And that's how it's presented to these kids. And I feel bad for the kids because they have no foundation to play with.
But here's the thing though, don't feel bad for them though. Don't feel bad for them. You gotta help them.
You do.
You gotta help them. It's our job to help them.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? The only listen, I've my neighborhood was I come from humbling circumstances, right?
Mm-hmm.
But OGs helped me. The older people helped me. You know why? Because they came from the civil rights movement. They can't, they've been through it. It was their honor, it was their pleasure to help me and guide me through the mess. I came out the crack era. You understand what I'm saying? And Halloween, you used to go trick or treating, but we had to search that candy heavy. Why? Because they was putting any and everything in the candy. I come from that era, right? So it was a mess. Man, like, yeah, their life was a mess, but we all come from some circumstances that were trying. So the reason why I say don't feel bad for them, because you looking at them like we can't help them. We can guide them, you just got to take advantage of the opportunities. That's the opportunity that we have to guide them. They act like they're not listening, but they're really listening. They want somebody to care, So
that's fair. I think I don't know if I gave the impression that we can't help them. I think you understand that their challenge is going to be more vast than ours because of the access points they have. You know what I'm saying? Like when we were growing up, your access was limited. Like you had, like a TV, maybe a radio, but then you got only so many frequencies you're playing with, right? Even when I growing up, we only had like 10 to 12 channels to play with until we got satellite. So your parents had a basically almost like a gate around you to a certain extent. That gate is gone. These kids got access to everything on earth through a phone or a computer. Mm-hmm. So I don't mean bad as in like bad I can't help, it's bad as in we do want to help them, but it's going to be more challenging just because it's just more open. And
it's more challenging for us than it was for our parents and our elders, right?
Yeah.
I got an uncle who tell me all the time, he said, man, I couldn't imagine raising children during this time frame, during this era. I marinated on that. And he ain't saying it to try to knock me or be mean, but
right.
I get it. He's being real, right?
Right.
And so it's I got 3 children, right? And the youngest are 4 and 8 months. So real young, right? The oldest is 14. She's in San Antonio, right? With my 4-year-old, he's different, right? He doesn't know the culture as we know the culture, if that makes sense, right? So when I look at other children his age, they can rap the hottest song that's out. Alice don't even know who the artist is, right? And it's that like you said, that gate that's around them, right? So that's a prime example in itself. A lot of our people, they growing up to where they coming up in homes to where they're not protected. They have assets. And even down to the TV shows, even down to children cartoons, man. If it's TVG, if I'm looking at it, nah, bro, we ain't watching that. But daddy,
you gotta really watch it.
That. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So he gonna talk your head off about Octonauts, Rescue Bots, and VeggieTales. That's all that boy really know. Yeah, I mean, he'll mention something about Sonic and Paw Patrol here and there, but as far as what he can really speak on, he's going to speak on those three, primarily Octonauts. And then when it comes to songs, when it comes to music, it's the set apart hip hop, like the artists that I named earlier, and sprinkle with a little bit of reggae in there, right? Got a Jamaican background, and then and a few other Christian and gospel artists. That's what he knows. So grooming him early on in that is extremely important in today's time. Going back to what my uncle said, I can't imagine raising children, which he's right. Even when it comes down to now, as he's finishing up his younger years, he's getting ready to step into 5 and go up. We're gonna have to take him out of public schooling, being around other children who's going to expose him to certain things that we're not ready for him to be exposed to just yet, right? Just, man, I'm talking about just a few nights ago, I'm breaking this down to my old lady. I said, listen, I can speak from experience. I was introduced to sexual things at a very young age when I wasn't supposed to be introduced to it. And I'm pretty sure, you know what I'm saying, you brothers can relate, you know what I mean? So I remember 2nd, 3rd grade, I'm trying to hump, right? Because I don't see things that led to that, right? So at a very early age, these things get, and like Chuck saying, man, back then we didn't have the assets that kids have now, children have now, right? So it's way easier just for them to just, even with the parental guidance or the parental parameters that we can set up through YouTube and Netflix. Hey man, some of these children learning how to code, they know how to get through them walls. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
You feel me? So it's like, if it becomes easier if you focus on being in nature. The more you in nature, the less opportunities that they have, right? So you got to spend a lot of time with your children. Right.
That's what I'm saying. Right. The thing about it is that you. This is my philosophy on it all. I can't stop it.
Correct.
So that's from my father's standpoint. I can't stop it. This has been the plan for generation after generation to program kids. I can't stop it. Well, what I can do is build a strong mental foundation, right? Having my child understand who she is, understanding what that is, understand what is being done. And these are layers, right? I haven't gotten to that. My daughter's only 7, but building, it's like building your own person. I mean, just like a robot almost, not to say it like that, but you have to program my kid to have a strong mindset, because when she leaves me, it's nothing really much that I can do but give her the skills to survive what's out there, right? I would drive myself crazy
Exactly.
trying to stop it. But when I'm in her presence, like prime example, my daughter, you know, plays little video games and stuff like that. I say, baby, I said, listen, when that, I want to, because she'll be in the back of the car, and listen, it's very far in between if she even on the phone like that or on a tablet. But when I do let her do, I said, listen, let me hear the ads. I want to know what the ads on the game, right? So one time I kept on hearing Bigo, 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 Bigo over and over again. I know what Bigo is. Bigo is not for a 7-year-old. But it is on a game that's supposed to be rated G. So I peep game. Bigo is an adult app. So you program it, and then what you do, you make little puzzles. Like they made a little puzzle on the ad, but you can create the puzzle for the Bigo, right? Bigo it's like a little, I don't know, like a little white alien. I don't know what it looks like, but it looks kid friendly. If you look up the image of what the Bigo logo looks like, it looks like a kid friendly logo, right? But I know what the app is. And it ain't the app ain't kid friendly at all. Right? So what you doing is you program. So I said, baby, just so listen. I said, if I kept hearing Bigo, I said, all right, give me the app. And it was this game she liked to play. I said, listen, let's download. I'll download another game that's similar to that, right? And then you let me listen to the ad again. We finally found a game that didn't have those advertising on it, and I was comfortable with them, you know. But she understands that. Hey, daddy, here you go. An ad is on. You want to see what the ad is, right? But once again, I can't stop it. But guess what? Now my daughter knows what's inappropriate for my standard. Because really my standard is the only one that matters. Because it's God and it's me, right? So my standards, I set the standard, yeah. So she understands it's not appropriate for certain things. So, but yeah, but it's important for us to be OGs again. Because here's what's happening. The OGs are getting wrapped into this too. Right? A lot of the OGs are not, men and women, we into the same music. We into the same whatever the kids are doing. You want to still feel young. You don't want to feel old. So you want to be friends with your kids, and your kid teaches you what's going on, and then you get wrapped up in that. So here you are, stuck in your second childhood, and you kicking it, you dressing with your kid, dressing like your kid dressing like you listen to what your kid listen to, but you don't understand what's going on. So it's a lot of that. But that's why I asked that question, just kind of bringing it back to what I was talking about, Tupac versus Juice Wrld, and understanding that when I asked that question, but I knew truthfully what the answer was. And I can't totally say that it's the same thing. I can't say that because I know Pac was a 20 and 25-year-old man. He's a Black Panther, right? He's a Black Panther that his mom basically almost had him in jail, right? She was a victim of the government, right? Also conspiracy stuff. They tried to lock her up for life, right? So I know the lineage of Pac. I know how he grew up, and I understood what he was trying to do. He tried to spark the conversation so that way he can have it. He tried to spark a conversation to give you some honest opinions on stuff. So now I got you. I can trap you into this other conversation I'm trying to have with you. Now, once again, he's 20, right? He's in his 20s, so yes, he gets a little lost. You will get lost too if the police shooting at you. You get lost too if the friends that you thought was friends was trying to kill you. You understand what I'm saying? He's been people been trying to kill him since he was born. You understand what I'm saying? So I can't say it's the same because because the lineage of Pac is too deep. He's a Shakur. You gotta do your research on what a Shakur is. Pac's real name is Lee Sane Crooks. His mother changed his name to Tupac Shakur when they was on the run, going from city to city, trying to escape. What they from running from FBI and everybody else who was trying to look at it. So the lineage of Pac is different than the Juice Wrld. You understand what I'm saying? And so and then the most important part is the frequency of the song. Juice WRLD's frequency is so low that you have no choice but to go with the song. It's too, the vibration is too low, bro. It's bad, right? So, but Pac, even with Pac talking about what he's talking about, you could still vibe with it, and you still can get something out of it, right? So, but that I sparked that conversation because we have to stop. One thing, we have to stop telling these kids that what they're doing is bad. But what you need to start doing is having a conversation about why the things they're listening to is not good. You just can't tell a kid what they're doing is bad because your parents did the same thing to you. Look what that got you. What happened to you? Did you listen to that, or did you just do what you was going to do anyway?
It's in our nature to test our limits. That's what we do. Like,
right.
You can tell a kid all day, don't do this. But if you don't put the time in, like you said, and for real, tell them why and show them like, hey, there are consequences for your actions. If you keep on doing certain things, things will come to you. There will be consequences for the things that you do.
Right.
So, that thing you said earlier, I forgot who said it, but putting in time, I think it was you, Tino, but giving time, especially giving time to a youth who don't really know, but can instantly have how some people you can just tell you have the vibrations.
Right.
When you have that and they're younger than you can tell that, give them your time and your energy and your effort, that's love, to someone younger. Because when you're giving someone your presence, that's real. People don't realize how big that is for a younger person. But I've done it before, but you ever be in class and you have that, when you're, 4th grade, 5th grade, but you got that one teacher that you really vibe with, if it's a lady or whatever, one time you might slip up, say mom or something like that. It happened because they're giving, their real time and energy and thoughtfulness. My mother, she was a substitute teacher when growing up, and she would sub even from grade school to middle school, junior high, high school, and all the kids that were in special ed, I don't really believe they weren't supposed to be in special ed, but you already know how that goes.
Right.
So, but a lot of those kids, they loved my mother. Some of the worst kids that always got into fights, always getting into it, all that kind of stuff. And y'all meet my mom, y'all know sweet old little black
right.
lady.
Mom's sweet, real
yeah. But if you real know my mother, she a pistol. She gonna for real tell you how it is, but she gonna tell you in a loving way. She gonna let you know, hey, young man. She will respect you even in the way she talks to you, young man, in the sense. When a lot of these kids, they're not used to that.
Right.
But when you actually tell, yes, I'm giving you my time, my energy, and my effort, that's the one. And I feel like that.
Right.
That's where it kind of starts.
Bro, let me tell you, and I don't know why this relates. I don't know why it probably doesn't relate. But when my daughter get off the bus, I'm the only parent there.
Mm.
I'm the only parent. I'm the only. My daughter can easily take 20 steps and be in front of the house and open the door. But I'm not gonna let that happen.
Right.
I'm not. I don't care. I don't care how close. I'm gonna be there when she get off the bus. If it's raining, I'm gonna be there to put the umbrella over her head.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be there because, you know, that's what parents do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't let your kids walk up the street by themselves, man. She's only in first grade. I don't care how close. You know, and here's the thing: my mom had to do it because she was the only. You know, she was a single parent. My pops was in and out of jail, so I had to fend for myself in a lot of things. But my daughter don't have to do that, man.
Right.
You know, but listen, I know this episode ain't gonna get no views, man. It may not get any views.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be. You know what I'm saying? You never know, but at the same time, it's probably not gonna be the most popular one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but
substance typically not.
Right. But you know, when me and Trim started this show, we vowed to educate people.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the things. One of the main things we said, whether it be about music, whether it be about life, we gotta educate the people, man. Because when my daughter, when she gets older, she press play on this, but she gonna say, "Daddy, all you did is talk about music." That's all you did. She's not gonna be able to say that. She gonna be like, "Yo, Dad was talking. He was trying to help someone."
Mm-hmm.
You know, as long as YouTube is here, as long as wherever we put his stuff, you know, she's gonna be able to see it. She's gonna be like, nah. He had D Reigns on, and D Reigns was, you know, he was speaking that real, you know. So it's just really all about, man, trying to reach out, even if it's one view on it. Mm-hmm. We did something, you know.
Yeah, the right person,
exactly.
The right person to see.
Right,
man.
Daddy.
I shall fear no man, just God. But it was God that gave me these bars.
My pen is the paintbrush, notepad the easel. Been painting with a twist before, sipping with my people. Stacking lines, equal sign, this verse is the prequel to the man you hear before you flowing through your speakers. Hempstead Nights, silky slim with the pearly whites. Earned a rep being smooth with the ladies. Plus could fight, kept the knife in his inside coat pocket. 22 strap on his ankle as another option. Protege of Chocolate Tay and OG from around the way. Used to run numbers and push yay, no Yeezy.
Subscribe for the very latest.